Hello and welcome to the Halloween special of Old Gold Tech. Oh yes, today we're going to be resurrecting 5 tech failures from the grave,
as voted by our friends on Twitter.
The first tech failure, as voted by you on Twitter, is the Zune! Zune!
The Zune was created by our friends at Microsoft. In November the 14th, 2006, it went on to sell millions. Well, a couple anyway. It came in a wonderful colour, and it was brown.
Brown, the colour of technology, of course.
Yes, it came in black and white also, but brown was the colour of choice. Now, in December 2008, on the 31st, just before New Year's Day, it went wrong.
What happened?
It stopped working. You see, 2008 was a leap year, and Microsoft's code couldn't cope with that. So there was a problem with its clock, and it went all wrong and stopped, and everybody couldn't listen to their music anymore.
No more Bon Jovi!
No more Tears for Fears. Anyway, Microsoft realized it was a catastrophic bug, because a number of Zunes across the globe stopped working. So they fixed it 24 hours later and went on to sell many, many more. Now, it's not as popular as the iPod. We know that. And there are many more Zunes in play today that everybody loves. But this, we feel, and knew, was a tech failure. Thank you, Microsoft, and the Zune 30.
Zune, in brown.
Number 2 on our tech list failure is...
HD DVD.
DVD.
Yes. High definition DVD.
Ooh, what is
developed by Toshiba.
Hello, Toshiba. Hello, Toshiba.
Yes, indeed. Now this is bought out by Toshiba, and obviously it had a rival, which is Sony's Blu-ray.
Ooh.
Now, I hear you ask, what was the failings of this?
Yes, what was the failings of this?
Okay, well, Toshiba failed to get contracts with major movie production houses.
Ooh.
Yes,
Ooh.
but Sony,
Yes.
they have their own movie production house, therefore owning lots of the major titles, ones that you would buy. Yes, so there's the first problem. Toshiba not securing major outlets with the film distribution houses.
Bad boys.
Yes.
Bad boys.
Now, again, they made another mistake. What they did is they made the discs quite cheaply. And what would you do for this? You would flood the market.
Yes.
Making everyone aware of the brown box of HD DVD.
Brown.
Flood the market so everyone, your neighbour, your cousin, your niece, your sister and your brother would all have one of these discs. But they didn't do that.
Why?
No, they didn't do it.
Why?
So along came Sony and capitalised on this situation. Now let's not forget VHS and Betamax.
Oh, dear.
Sony had learnt from their mistakes with the minidisc and the Betamax format.
Yes.
So they came with a whole new strategon. What they did is they put a Blu-ray player in the PS3. Yes.
Ooh.
Now I don't know if you can remember, but Blu-ray players were very expensive pieces of kit.
Yes.
But Sony thought, why don't we put one in our consoles? And that's what they did.
Ooh.
Now, I hear you cry, yes, I have an Xbox 360 at home.
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
But it came without a HD DVD player built in.
What?
But instead, you could buy an add-on.
Nice. An add-on?
In 2009 or 10 or maybe 8, you don't want a USB cable streaming out of your console to another little add-on.
No.
So they lost out. Unfortunately, HD DVDs disappeared. They are beneath the ground in a tomb. You can obviously still get HD DVDs on eBay and other places. So you can get cut price DVDs. But if I was you, I would stick with the Blu-ray, baby.
Stick with the Blu-ray, baby. Yes. Back soon to number 3.
Third, and in no particular order to be exhumed from the old gold tech grave, is
A rabbit.
the rabbit phone.
Yes, the rabbit phone. In 1989, the UK government made it easy for people to make wireless calls on their phone. Yes, wireless calls.
That's a good thing, that's not a failure.
Well, you haven't heard all of it. In 1992, Rabbit, a company by Hutchinson Telecom, decided to make the ability to make calls wirelessly from your home and when you're out and about. Amazing! There was one slight problem.
What?
One, when you were roaming around outside, you could only make outgoing calls. You could never receive a call.
That's ridiculous!
And you also had to be 100 meters within range of a wireless access point with a little rabbit or the letter R on it. Now, as you can imagine, this was pretty rubbish because you couldn't receive a call. If you wanted to take a call from home, you had to go home.
That is the most unbelievably stupid thing I've ever heard.
Yes. And unfortunately, it didn't do very well. And within 20 months of it being released, it went completely wrong and never was working again. Because the likes of Cellnet, now O2 in the UK, and Vodafone, now Vodafone in the UK, decided to bring a cellular network system in place, which allowed people to make and receive calls from anywhere in the world. Goodbye, Rabbit, and thank you so much for the memories.
Yes, Rabbit, get back into my pot.
Number 4 in our tech death list, in no particular order, and as voted by our friends on Twitter, is
The Sega Dreamcast.
the Sega Dreamcast. What is the Sega Dreamcast?
This is the last console developed and brought out by manufacturer Sega. Sega.
Sega!
Yes. It came out after the Saturn. The Saturn left a dirty taste in the gamer's mouths. Yes, it did.
Dirty.
Yes, well, the Saturn was a poor piece of kit and didn't really have any third developers involved in making any games.
Oh.
So it was only Sega that made them. But they learned from this mistake when they brought out the Dreamcast. The only big developer that wasn't going to allow anything to be made in their house for the Dreamcast was Electronic Arts. Of course, they're a huge monster in the games market.
Yes.
So the Dreamcast came out, but it was without titles such as NHL Football and FIFA games. And don't forget all their other massive titles. Now, if you're going to launch in another country like America, you need something like that. Yes, but we're not planning this console, because this was a good console in terms of it was the last hardcore games console, in terms of arcade games. Yes, but without EA signing a contract to making games for them, gamers sort of looked at this as okay, so we've bought a Sega's Dreamcast, and EA aren't going to make games, so I suppose they're waiting for something else to come out. And yes, they were. They were waiting for the PlayStation 2. EA already saw it coming. I reckon there was some shonky deals going on behind there somewhere. So the Sega Dreamcast, with all its failings, also had some other problems as well.
Oh, what was that?
Well, it was very easy to download a game off the internet, burn it, and then play it on your console without any need for any extra chips or hacks.
Piracy?
Yeah, so they were losing money there, hemorrhaging like a big axe wound to the face.
Oh dear, sham.
Now another thing, which is a cultural point to the Dreamcast, is that the Japanese sort of released some of their cool, quirky titles. One of them was called Seaman.
What?
Yes, it was called Seaman. Obviously,
dear.
not a good game name, really.
No.
Especially not one to buy the kids for Christmas, because you don't want them to think that they're going home and playing with seamen.
No! No!
Anyway, Seaman was sort of like a fish pet that came on your screen with a human face, and he spoke to you like you were a piece of dirt.
Oh, a dirty seaman piece
Why
of
would you
fish
pay for that?
dirt?
Obviously, more culturally diverse titles like this were only aimed at the Japanese market and weren't released out to the Western world.
So to speak.
Yes, yes. There was another title called Shenmue, which was meant to be sort of living a day in the life of someone. But to be honest with you, it was fairly boring. But it cost $80 million. $80 million to make.
Good grief.
So this hemorrhaged money,
Yes.
hemorrhaged all over the place. Lots of money blood oozing all over the place.
Money blood, money blood.
Anyway, another thing the Dreamcast couldn't do was it couldn't play DVDs.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now, an interesting fact about this is that in Japan, the DVD market wasn't very big at all.
No, small.
Very small.
Yes.
But PlayStation capitalized on this, and they flooded the Japanese market with DVDs. But what did they use to show the Japanese people how to play a DVD? Why, they used their new console, the PS2.
Oh, PS2,
So in Japan, you can imagine, there's many shops selling DVDs, and they were using the PlayStation to show this. Now, I don't know if you can remember, but DVD players, when they first came out, were very expensive pieces of kit.
£1 billion!
Yes, that much money. You
Yes.
have to sell your own head.
Yes.
But what PlayStation did is they built one into their console, which obviously killed two birds with one stone. Leaving many people thinking, why should I buy this Dreamcast when I can have a PS2 and watch DVDs in my own house?
Yes.
Yes, so that's the Sega Dreamcast there. Unfortunately, it was the end of Sega, and now they only develop games.
Goodbye, Sega, and thank you.
Sega!
Sega!
And in no particular order, and still voted by you on Twitter, so don't come moaning to us, is the fifth tech failing that we're going to bring back from the morgue, which is...
The Sinclair Black Watch. Yes, Sinclair, we love you.
Oh,
you
rest in
made the
peace.
Spectrum. You made the Spectrum. You made the C5. You made the QL. And all those wonderful things, the ZX81. But in 1975, Sinclair Radionics decided to make a digital watch. What could be so difficult about making a digital watch? Well, here are the problems. And thank you to Planet Sinclair for providing this wonderful information. A few problems existed with this watch. Number one, it would only display the time when you pressed a button. Now, you could buy these watches in two formats. You could buy them as a £25 pre-assembled piece of gadgetry. Yes. Or, if you wanted to pay £17.95, you could have it in kit form.
Oh my god.
Which was impossible to put together. Now, a few things went wrong with this watch. Another one was that the CPU, or the little clock that ran, used to blow up.
Blow up and take off your hand.
Yes, especially if you had something like a nylon shirt, or air conditioning, or even if you was just to touch it. So in manufacturing, it went horribly wrong, and they had to make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds before they got them right.
Oh.
Now, a great piece of machinery that this was the fact that when it got hot, or slightly warm, the clock used to drift.
Can you imagine Jack Bauer relying on one of those in one of his sweaty missions?
Exactly! The clock would go off time, and you wouldn't be able to tell what time it was. It could be 5 minutes late, it could be 20 minutes late.
no.
Who knows? Now, another issue with this wonderful thing was that it was completely useless as a watch. And that's a problem, of course, if you want it to be a watch. It cost Sinclair £350,000, a massive loss in 1976 for that year end. So Sinclair, we are sorry, but the watch, although it was beautiful, it was black, and it had LEDs which glowed in the dark. It was rubbish, and we salute you, because you are brilliant, but this was a tech failing.
Absolute rubbish. So that was the top 5 tech failings as voted by our friends on Twitter.
Thank you, Twitter!
What were the top 5, I asked?
Well, what were they? We started off with the HD DVD!
Yes, and then we featured others like the Sega Dreamcast.
Oh, yes, and then there was the Zone,
And not forgetting the Rabbit phone. Rabbit.
Rabbit, and then to finish off was the Sinclair watch that didn't tell the time.
What a pathetic piece of technology.
Oh dear, but thank you friends on Twitter for voting and suggesting these wonderful tech failings.
Yes, well done, friend. Now, what we want to say is, if you find any of this interesting, you can go on the internet, yes, a very good invention, and you can look up about these things further in your own personal time. Don't always rely on us to tell you. Go and investigate yourself.
Yes, and thank you. We will see you soon.
Goodbye.
Soon.